Good evening all. Today I'd like to carry out a little experiment. Um, what I could do with is some tarpaulins. Now, tarpaulins are something that was pretty ubiquitous in a goods yard in the steam era, and indeed you see them all over the place today. Back in the steam era, they were typically cloth. I believe it was impregnated with tar to make it waterproof. But how you represent this in model form is a subject of much debate. I've had some success with After Eight wrappers. Some people use tissue, some people use paper. You can get resin castings of tarpaulin covered loads. But recently, I heard of a method that sounded mightily interesting to me. Let me explain. So what you need is something that crumples, that crumples like a full-size tarpaulin, but also that can take paint. So, tinfoil has the right sort of crumple, but you can't really paint it. Paper has the ability to take paint, but doesn't really crumple. Someone pointed out that what you could use is the wrapper of a Tunnux caramel or similar, which is foil on one side, paper on the other. So I thought that sounded mightily interesting, and I'm going to see how that goes. Obviously, your first step is to eat the biscuit. Yeah, I know. No one said this modelling lark would be easy. Next, you need to sort of cut your tarpaulin roughly to size. Thus. Now, your typical wagon tarpaulin would be black, but it would fade in service. So, I'm going for more of a grubby sort of grey. And I am using watercolour. Which I hope will give me that faded, washed out look I'm going for. That's painted. I'm just going to wait for it to dry and then we'll see how it looks on a wagon. The tarpaulin's dry now. It's kind of got the effect I want. I think it needs a little work. One thing is that the corners have curled up, which is, I suppose, not entirely unexpected. Let's see how it looks on a wagon, though. Here's an initial fitting. It seems to look all right. I think. Hold on a second. I've just glued the tarpaulin down just fairly loosely, just a few spots on the sides and on the ends there, just to give the illusion of a little bit of weight. And I think it's looking better. What it needs, though, is some ropes. Now, I'm just going to use cotton. So, let's see how we end up. There it is with the ropes, and I wasn't sure about this, but I think it's actually okay. I'm going to add a touch of weathering with the old eyeshadow. Not too much, just enough to kind of really bring out the creases. One last thing I'm going to add is I'm going to take some of this PVA, that's some fine camera work there, and I am just going to create a little pool of rainwater. There, fini. That is another low-cost wagon load for you. And the best thing about it is, it comes with a free chocolate biscuit.